Heavy fighting erupted last night on Ethiopian border. Welcome to my views and news. Thanks for watching the channel. Firstly, what happened on Ethiopian border with a neighboring country last night? Secondly, a Fano commander is claiming that his father has been killed by security forces, by militias in the Amhara region. Is this claim true or not? Let's have a look at this story first about the death of a Fano commander's father. Bebe Fentau is a Wollo Fano commander. His father's name is Fentau Derbio. And Bebe Fentau yesterday claimed through a message that in the Amhara region, government forces killed his father in Kobo at a church, Mikhail Church in Kobo. Pantao Derbio was an old man, 89 years old, was Fantao Derbio. And several Fano sources are propagating this news that Fantao Derbio has been killed by Ethiopian security forces or militias. Firstly, condolences to the family because Fantao's death has been confirmed. Fantao Derbio's death confirmed. That's what is being confirmed by everyone, that the man has died. But was he killed by security forces or did he die a natural death? Death of a natural cause? Well, so far I have not been able to confirm that militias or security forces killed Fantao Derby. I could not confirm that. I'm not saying that Baba Fantao is telling a lie. I'm not saying that his father is dead. So he must be mourning the death of his father. But I am just sharing with you what I tried to do in terms of confirmation verification. I could not confirm the role of security forces, militias. And what would security forces gain by killing an 89-year-old man? It does not make sense. I'm still working on it. If I get more information, then I'll share an update with you. Sometimes pro Fano sources, even Fano commanders, they exaggerate, they tell lies because they think that the cause that they are working for is bigger than everything. So even if lies are told, that is right because they are telling these lies for a cause to protect the Amhara people. Now, a second news story is from Ethiopian border. Last night, heavy fighting erupted on Ethiopian border with Somalia. What happened there? Firstly, some Somali sources are claiming that Somalia wants to deploy Egyptian troops to the areas in Somalia, on Somalia-Ethiopia border. And that is why Ethiopia is backing regional forces in Somalia, which are fighting against federal forces, and that Ethiopia basically wants to keep Egyptian troops away from its borders. Several activists, analysts are making this claim, which is not true, by the way, because I don't think there is any plan under consideration to deploy Egyptian troops to Somalia-Ethiopia border areas. No plan under consideration. Egypt is very reluctant to send its forces to Somalia because Egypt was hoping to kick out Ethiopian troops from Somalia. Ethiopian troops managed to retain their presence in Somalia. Now, why would Egypt risk the deployment of its military in Somalia? Because Al Shabaab is gaining ground. Even uh, right now, when I'm recording this video, a key town has been captured by Al Shabaab. In recent hours, we got this information. So Al Shabaab is on the offensive. If Ethiopia is still there in Somalia, why would Egypt send its forces to Somalia? And Ethiopia made it clear to Somalia last year that it won't allow large-scale deployment of Egyptian troops towards its border. So I think Somali activists, analysts are exaggerating. They're basically trying to implicate Ethiopia in the conflict between regional governments and federal government of Somalia. Having said that, does it mean that Ethiopia does not back any regional governments? It backs. Ethiopia backs regional forces. Ethiopia backs regional governments of Juba and Puntland. Both are rebelling, you can say. They are not on working relation terms with the federal government of Somalia. Ahmed Mohammed Islam Madobe, Jubaland president, and Said Abdullah Dini, Puntland president, they hardly meet Somalia president Hassan Sheikh. The fighting, which erupted last night, happened in Dolu, Gaidu region, Dolu town on Ethiopian border. The fighting was between Jubaland regional forces and federal forces. Again, some Somali sources say that basically Ethiopia attacked federal forces of Somalia through Jubaland forces. Maybe Ethiopia backed Jubaland forces. Why did Jubaland forces attack federal forces in Dolu last night? Jubaland forces are not allowing any federal force or militias to enter Jubaland. For the last 1 week, a new conflict has been unfolding between Jubaland forces and federal forces. We saw uh, fighting between Jubaland forces and federal militias in Bolo Havo, which is close to Somalia-Kenya border. There, Abdi Rashid Janan-led federal militias confronted Jubaland regional forces, and Jubaland regional forces had an advantage reportedly. Abdi Rashid Janan forces suffered losses there. And then Jubaland forces opened second front last night when they attacked a military base of Somalia's federal troops in Dolu. At night, Jubaland forces stormed the base. There was exchange of gunfire. Reportedly, Jubaland forces overran the Dolo Dolo uh, military base of Somalia's federal forces. And federal security officials surrendered. Some were killed, some fled. Jubaland forces have cleared Dolo from the presence of federal forces reportedly. Situation in Bolo Havo is volatile. There, Abdi Rashid Janan is still fighting reportedly. But in Dolo, maybe backed by Ethiopian forces, Jubaland forces just took control of the military base. So the conflict is basically between Jubaland forces and federal forces of Somalia, but Ethiopia is back in Jubaland forces. And Jubaland President Madobe got himself elected for another term last year, while federal government of Somalia rejected that election. And back then, Ethiopia backed that election, indirect election. Ethiopia did not allow federal forces of Somalia to enter Jubaland during that election last year. Ethiopia has been backing regional governments in Somalia, regional governments which are standing up to the federal government of Somalia. Federal government is very weak. Federal government needs to build a strong military first. It does not have the resources. It does not have the will, perhaps. It does not have the plan to build a strong military. And without strong military, I don't think it's possible for Somalia to have a strong federal government. So regional government's very strong. They conduct foreign policy related dealings with neighboring countries independently without taking federal government of Somalia on board. Thanks for watching.